Are we live? We are. Hello, hello. I'll give people just a moment to join. It's been a while. It's been a while, and now I'm back. I've been traveling a little bit, and I have my super fun little cup to drink water. Hello, Donald. It's not working. Hello, thank you for joining. My cup isn't working. Hello, thank you for joining. We'll get started here just in a second. My freaking cup isn't working. Is there a hole in the straw? It's my mermaid cup. Better work. Kind of works. Hello, Mark. How are you? Hey, guys. Thank you for joining. We'll let a few more people pop in if they will. Thank you for being patient. I apologize for being absent for a little while. I went to New York City. I was there for a little bit, so I have things to tell you all about that, which was really interesting. Hello, Marco. That is not water. What is it? Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. Okay, let's get started. I've been gone for a while and I apologize. Again, thank you for being patient. I will be back pretty regularly very soon. I traveled a little bit. I went to New York City and that was really interesting. So I stayed in the Upper West Side and then I stayed in Chelsea for a little bit. So I stayed in two different places within New York City. And it was interesting. It was interesting to see a few things up close because I report on New York City a lot, but I personally haven't been there since before the pandemic and decided to travel there. If I'm talking about it, I should see what's going on for myself. And I will say, in the locations that I was staying in, the migrant crisis and the homeless crisis are very, very obvious. So what I saw in New York was, did I feel safe? Yeah, I felt safe. I mean, there were certain areas where I didn't feel as safe, but overall I felt safe. And you are safe in New York. Again, as long as you are very vigilant, as long as you're smart. I don't recommend wearing headphones just walking around when you used to be able to do that. I just think, yeah, I mean, you're safe. Just be vigilant and be smart and be aware of your surroundings. And you'll probably have to do that a little bit more than what you would have had to do a few years ago. But that's just where New York City is right now. That being said, the city in and of itself has declined a lot. For instance, there's trash piled up where a few years ago you wouldn't have seen trash piled up as much. There are homeless adult men on almost every corner digging through trash where a few years ago, yeah, there were homeless people, but not to that extent, not on just about every corner. And what you will also see, so again, I was staying in the Upper West Side and then I also stayed in Chelsea. What you will also see are just groups of migrants just hanging out on the side of certain streets, and it's typically adult men. They're hanging out on the sides of the streets. There'll probably be like two, three, or four of them just on their bicycles, whether they're electric bikes or regular bicycles. They're on their bicycles just hanging out on street corners waiting for food orders. So a lot of them are doing like DoorDash, Grubhub, all those delivery services. So you'll just see them posted up, just waiting for orders to come through. I even went in one restaurant. By the way, you used to never see that ever in New York. You wouldn't see groups of men just hanging out on like every block, just waiting for food orders to come through. There was one restaurant that I went into, and there was a guy sitting inside the door of the restaurant, and he was just sitting there. He was clearly like a food delivery guy, not affiliated with the restaurant, just a food delivery guy, but he was just sitting inside the restaurant waiting for a food delivery to come through, maybe for that restaurant. Are you going to start your Bible reading again? Yes, I posted a video the other day. I have one posted today. So yes, that will go back up very much sooner than later. I haven't been on top of that as well, but that's getting going again. So I actually have a video I need to post either tonight or in the morning. And then, yeah, that will be started again. Thank you for asking about that. And again, thank you for your patience on that as well. But back to New York City. So some other things that you will see in New York City. And again, like these guys, like I never felt threatened by them. It's just when you're a female, it doesn't matter if it's threatening or not. Just seeing a bunch of dudes just hanging out idly with nothing to do on the side of the road, that eventually isn't going to lead to good things, no matter if I felt safe in the moment or not. I mean, they were minding their own business. They weren't paying attention to me, but still, it's not a good thing. And it's something that's different that didn't used to be in New York City, and now it is. So you have that. A few other things I also saw just walking around, and keep in mind, some of this time I was on vacation mode. Like I wasn't in like Sarah making videos mode. I wasn't in looking for the migrant crisis mode. I was just in regular Sarah mode. So another thing that I would see like hordes of kids, like migrant kids, inside of grocery stores turning in bottles. So what you can do in New York is you can collect plastic bottles and I think aluminum cans, and you can go and turn them in and they'll give you cash for them. So I would see young kids like well under 10 years old, like 6, 7, maybe 5, crowded around, and they're clearly migrant kids, crowded around these like machines, putting in bottles in order to get money. Another thing that I would see, and some of this I don't have footage of because one, I was just in regular Sarah mode. I wasn't expecting to stumble upon these things. And two, I thought because of where I was staying that I was removed from the situation. And number two, you know, there's really young kids. So that's awkward filming that without showing their faces. And again, this stuff is just, it's hitting me by surprise. So another thing that I would see are mothers, and they're clearly migrants. You can tell mothers sitting on the side of the street with really young children. And when I say young children, I'm talking like 2, 3 years old. For instance, I was in the Upper West Side and I was walking by, it was like a shopping center, and I was walking by a Sephora, and there was a mom there with her, what looked like 2-year-old baby, sitting on the side of the street selling just one little box of candy. She had one box of candy and was sitting there with her toddler selling it. And I walked by and it shocked me. I was like, did I just see that? So I went to where I was going, got what I needed to get. I checked out and then I walked back. I was going to film it walking back, but she had left at that point. So I don't know if someone else said something or if the police said something, but you will see this a lot. You'll see parents with very young children on the subway, on the sides of the road, selling candy and all of that. Another thing that I did was I did go to the Roosevelt Hotel. So that is one of the main migrant hotels. That's the hotel that they're calling the new Ellis Island of New York City, even though they have absolutely nothing in common. My great-grandparents came in through Ellis Island, and there was no welfare state when they came through, and they came through the right and legal way. But people are calling it the new Ellis Island, and when you walk by there, you'll see families, you'll see little kids, but you'll also see just hordes of, again, like young military-aged men just not doing anything, just completely idle. So you'll see that. You get, if you're filming in that area, you'll get kind of a hostile attitude because people don't want to be filmed. Not only will you get that from the migrants, you will get that from the hotel staff. So the hotel security, the staff, will come out. If they see you filming anywhere by the lobby or where a door is, they'll attempt to come out and tell you to stop filming, even though they can't do that. They have no right to do that. It's New York City. It's a one-party state. You can film on the sidewalk. It is a beautiful hotel, and it's completely destroyed. And it's the feeling around that hotel is so surreal. It's like being an outsider in your own country. Nobody wants you there. They don't want you to film there. The people that are here illegally have more rights around that place than you do. So it was just such an icky and gross, odd feeling. And then I did almost the whole perimeter as much as I could around the hotel. And I got to one area where they had National Guard. Our own National Guard is deployed at that hotel protecting the migrants. They're posted up for the migrants, our own National Guard. So again, just the whole thing was totally bizarre, super weird. And during that time, when I was in New York City, was also when the terrorist attack in Israel happened. And New York City has the highest population of Jewish people other than Israel. So clearly, it's also the place that 9/11 happened. So the whole feeling in New York City after that happened was just very, it was very unsettling. And what made it even more unsettling were the fact that you had people, before the dust even settled on the initial attack that happened in Israel, you had pro-Palestinian people that were in Times Square celebrating the attack. They weren't just pro-Palestinian people, they were celebrating the attack out in the open in Times Square. So just a very, very bizarre experience overall, being in New York City, being in this country right now. Especially just a few months ago, I was in Los Angeles. So those are two of our major cities, Los Angeles and New York City. And just seeing how much they've changed over the past few years is really disheartening. It's odd, it's disheartening, it's a lot of things. And I think that I'm just kind of in a bit of a state of shock, just taking it all in and realizing how much this country has changed. And a lot of people will say, like, is it safe in New York? Did you feel safe? What about LA? Is it safe? Here's the thing. So I report on a lot of what's happening in New York and a lot of what's happening in LA. So I'm a bit more plugged in, I think, than most people. I'm probably also a bit more plugged into the crime than I think most people. So obviously my perspective is a bit skewed, and I'm very self-aware of that. I'm very aware that I'm obviously, because of this, I'm talking about a lot of the bad things that happen in these areas. So I'm very aware that my perspective can be a bit more apocalyptic than maybe reality. That being said, same experience I had in New York, same experience I had in LA. When I got there and landed and I'm out and about and I'm experiencing, you expect to see, again, you expect to see the apocalypse. You expect to see 28 days later, zombie apocalypse, all of these things. Buildings just crumbling, smoke rising, and you don't see that. You see people living their lives, going about their day to day. They're fine. They feel safe. Things are still running. It's not all the way to the ground. And that's what you see at first. And you think to yourself, oh, it's not as bad as I thought. Okay, things are still going and running. But then a day or two later, especially being familiar with those areas and what they were a few years ago, a day or two later, when you're really walking around, when you're really taking it in, and when you're really seeing what's going on, that's when it really hits you like, wow, these areas have actually changed a lot, and they are very different from what they used to be. So that's when I think it really hits you. It's not going to be this bombardment with apocalyptic happenings. It's going to be knowing the areas and knowing what was normal a few years ago and then knowing what's normal now. And I think that's also how some residents in these areas, they'll stay completely oblivious to the problems that are happening, because it's very easy to live in these areas and have blinders on and to not see, oh, another business shut down, another business shut down. Oh, now there's a homeless person on every single corner when it used to be like one corner in a blue moon. Like, oh, there are these migrants everywhere when I used to not see any of this. So it's a thing. It's changed. Our country is very divided right now under an issue where we used to all be on the same page. The good news is about everything that's happening, and I don't even think I have to get into specifics with you all. The good news is that a lot of people are showing their true colors. A lot of moderate Democrats are seeing the party for what it has become and how radical factions of that party have become. People are outing themselves. People are exposing themselves. So I do think that is a positive, a silver lining, but it's still, for a lot of us, I think we're just kind of in a state of shock at how divided things are and about how drastically our country has changed in the past, even in the past 3 years, in the past 4 years, in the past 5 years. Drastic changes have been happening. So there's that. Yeah, it was a bit weird being in New York when all of this went down. What's crazy too, okay, so the attack in Israel, it happened Saturday, correct? Saturday, yes, it happened Saturday. My hotel that I was staying at in New York, they had, and they told us about it when we checked in. So it was, I knew this was going to happen, but I clearly forgot about it. But they told us that on Monday, so let's see, was Saturday, October 7th. So Sunday was the 9th, Monday was the 10th. Oh no, Monday was the 9th. Okay, Monday was October 9th. So they told us that there was going to be a planned fire alarm just to test the system, like a routine planned fire alarm. They warned us when we checked in, and then they gave us notice when in the hotel room there were 2 separate pieces of paper warning that there was going to be this fire alarm drill. I totally forgot about it. So all this is happening, being in New York City, feeling on edge. And then Monday, all of a sudden, like I don't know if it's not the fire marshal, but somebody gets on the intercom at the hotel and he's like, excuse me, everybody, we are going to be blah, 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 blah. As soon as that happened, I was like, what? And then I quickly remembered that it was a planned drill, which was nice. But just very weird times. Very weird times in New York. Yeah, it freaked me out. I was already kind of freaked out. Well, just feeling also like there are people that are in the same city as you out there just celebrating one of the most horrific terrorist attacks that I've ever seen. One of the most barbaric terrorist attacks that I've ever seen. And there were people, and by the way, you can be pro either side, but still condemn the atrocities happening on innocent people. And I think that's what most people with a decent moral compass are. If you're pro-Israel, it breaks your heart to see innocent Palestinians hurting. You can still be pro-Palestine and condemn Hamas and be heartbroken and show humanity at innocent civilians being brutalized. But for some reason, I'm seeing a lot of people celebrate it, and they'll say, but that's where it's very concerning and very upsetting. So there's that. And, and Joe Biden again this week is on vacation. He's at the beach, so that's nice. Anyway, I just wanted to hop on. I wanted to say hello. I didn't go anywhere. I apologize for being gone for some time. Thank you for your patience. I will be back. Just wanted to share some experiences over the past month with you. I'm just back getting settled again. But yes, New York City was rather interesting. I do have footage, so I'll show that to you very soon. And thank you again for tuning in and watching. I will see you guys later. All right. Thank you all. Bye.